Hi, I'm Heather from here booktubes, and today is my some of my favorite tropes and book recommendations for it. So these are very specific tropes. It's not something like billionaire or demon or shifter. It's not like that. These are more specific things that happen within the books, and I have 2 books for every one of the prompts. So I think I have 8 prompts maybe? Who knows? But let's get into some of my favorite things to read about. First one is I Hate Everyone But You. I love this. Who doesn't love this? I don't mind a broken hero if like the trauma's not extreme. I don't like being sad. I don't like reading about like really terrible things happening. My first one, some pretty terrible things happen. This is a dark romance without being super dark, but this is Twisted Love by Huang. She's finishing up college or something like that, and he hates everybody, but he is her brother's best friend, and her brother goes to Central America for a medical trip for a year, and so he asks his friend to watch out for his sister. So his friend does, and her friends were like, let's do this and see if you can get any emotions out of him. So she tries all these different things, and it's a failure. I did not like the 3rd act breakup in this, I have to say. I thought it was dumb. I didn't like it at all. But the entire rest of the book, I really loved. I really enjoyed their banter. I loved how it was like, and he finally smiled, and you know, it was such a victory and things like that. I loved watching him melt for her, and it was good. It was real good. And then I have Shiver by Suzanne Wright. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't remember a ton about this book. But I'm pretty sure both of them actually don't really like many people, but they are fascinated by each other. So she is the stepdaughter of a infamous serial killer, and he is the new owner of the bar that she works at, and he doesn't want her working there before he finds out that it's her. He's like, I don't want to be associated with the serial killer. And she also, under a pen name, writes serial killer fiction, and so somebody's blackmailing her about that fact, and he steps in and is very protective, and there are a lot of twists and turns. Don't ask me what they are, I don't remember, but in my review for this book I wrote there's a lot of twists and turns, so you know it must be true. I should really probably reread it because I have no freaking idea what happens. So there's that. I do really like this author. I do remember loving the book, and yeah, I feel like serial killer adjacent romance, it's there. It was kind of creepy. And I love when they're like, I know you're the one. Like they lock eyes for the first time across the room. They're like, that's the girl I'm gonna marry. I love it. I love it in a paranormal fated mates setting. I love it in contemporary where they're just like, oh yeah, no, like this is not the same thing that's happened to me before. This is the one. Right away. I love when that happens. I love when both people feel it. I love when they act on it. Especially because that instant connection doesn't mean that they know everything about each other, but it is like a, I'm serious about you type of thing, and I really like that. So the first one I have for this is Until November by Aurora Reynolds. She writes The Boom, which is an instant connection where you know you met your one. And some are good, some are some are great. This one is one of my favorites, and she is the daughter of his boss. Her dad owns a strip club, and she has never really known him, and she's an adult, obviously. She comes, and the hero gets the wrong impression that she's sleeping with the dad, and is mad because he felt that instant connection, and he just can't believe that she's with his boss. So he makes mistakes and says some things that he should not say, and then has to make up for it. Very alpha, very instant, and it is like, wow, I saw you and you're the one. Every single one of Aurora Reynolds books is like that, so if you like that instant, I have met my future wife, she's a good author for that. Then I have Bared to You by Sylvia Day. This is one of my favorite book series. It's so dramatic and over the top, and I just love it. But when they see each other, like it is instant connection, attraction, magnetism. She like literally like gets knocked over by the force of his will. It doesn't make any sense. I love it, okay? Don't mess with me about it. I adore it. It's so good. They do have a lot of problems, and there is a lot of content warnings for past sexual assault. So just about everybody in the series has some sort of trauma surrounding sexual assault, and so it is discussed a lot, and you should be aware of that. It does not happen on page, but it is referred to quite a bit. And like, the main character and her best friend met through therapy for it and stuff like that. So there are many characters with this in their past. And so if you want to avoid that completely, then you shouldn't read the series. It's not without its issues, but it's so dramatic and over the top. And I love their relationship, even though you're like, that's not healthy. Doesn't matter, okay? We live for the mutually dependent toxic dependency. I'm all right with it. As long as everybody's happy, it's fine. Okay, this should come as no surprise to anybody. I love when it's like, I will kill for you. Arguably, pretty much every book on this list fits within this trope, because I read it all the time, because I love it, because okay, I think that most people, when it comes right down to it, would kill somebody who is bringing harm to their loved one or a perfect stranger in order to protect their loved one. I think that that is kind of a default. I'm not saying that most people will ever be put in that position, but I do think that for most people, if there is a choice between somebody you love and somebody that you don't, you're always going to pick the one that you love. And that's why I like villains better than heroes. The first one is Ryan, which is Math Brothers #2 by Jessica Gadziala. The main character has severe agoraphobia, and she can't leave her apartment at all, and she is attacked, and the hero is a loan shark, and he's kind of the businessman of the family, and he is just like ready to hunt people down. And he's so protective of her and so good with her, and I love watching their relationship. It's really good mental health, anxiety representation. The author is familiar with the anxiety, and I just thought it was really well done. I learned a lot reading it, and I really loved how protective he was of her and how he would do anything to make her feel safe and cared for. Then I have Cruel Black Hearts #1 by Candace Wondrak. My friend Tamika just DNF'd this book and said it was garbage. But 1, I can see where she's coming from. 2, I actually liked it. And this is a serial killer reverse harem romance, and literally somebody is killing people as a gift to the main character. So it doesn't get much more I'll kill people for you than that. It's not necessarily the way I usually like the trope, but it's definitely, oh, I'll kill people for you. It's wild. It's very dark. If you're not into serial killers at all, like, hard skip. There's a lot of killing, and a lot of serial killers, so. Then I have You Fascinate Me. This is where it's not like an instant connection, and it's not that they feel affection or banging quickly or any of the things, but like literally it's almost like hypnotized by a snake type thing. And I couldn't think of the ones that were like, they're like fascinated them in like a wow, you could hurt me type way, but like I can't take my eyes off of you. Couldn't really think of that, but I have some good recs. First one is Kate Daniels, which the first book in the series is Magic Bites, I think. When Kate and Curran meet in this first book, Kate is a mercenary. Curran is the beast lord of the shifters. He is literally in charge of thousands of shifters, and he is the most powerful of them all. When they meet, it is like you fascinate me, and also I'm gonna watch you so you don't kill me, and also I kind of want to know what makes you tick. They're such a great couple. I love them so much. Their initial meeting is something that like lives in my head. Even though it's like the smallest little thing, it is a meeting I've never forgotten. And I'm really into it. Then I have The Duke Who Didn't, which is Wedgeford Trials #1 by Courtney Milan. This one, he is a half Chinese duke and she is a Chinese girl living in a town in England, which is actually mostly immigrants, but the duke actually owns the town, but nobody knows that he's the duke, and he loves her. She's very type A. She makes lists constantly. It's like a big part of who she is, and she just fascinates him. He wants to know everything there is to know about her, and she's like convinced that he's just being foolish. And so he wants to be like, I love you, marry me, but he can't. So he has to come up with schemes to try and convince her that he cares for her. But she fascinates him, and he could literally just sit there all day long and hear her thoughts. And I loved them. There were a lot of twists, which I can't tell you what they were, that I really enjoyed. Not like twists in the overall plot, but just things that didn't play out the way I thought that they would, and I loved the way that they went. So very enjoyable. It was delightful. Then I have Stolen from a Wedding. This is my jam. If this is in the synopsis, I will give that book a shot. I love this so much. I'm not talking about, okay, normally I could not care less about wedding setups for romances. Like, it takes place over the weekend of the wedding. Could not care less. Don't care about the bridesmaid drama. Don't care about the cake drama. I don't freaking care. However, if she is getting married, and arguably I'm okay with it even when she kind of wants to marry the guy, but especially if she doesn't want to marry him and some random person comes in and steals her from the wedding and then she has a romance with him, I love it so much. I love it so much. It is like my favorite thing, I swear. So I have two. One is Taking Meghan, which is Disciples number 5, I think, by Izzy Sweet and Sean Moriarty. This is a mafia romance, and he just gets out of prison like that day or the day before. And she is one mafia daughter, and she's being given to another mafia guy, and they're yet another mafia type thing. So it's two of their rivals marrying each other. So they go and they break it up. And he steals her. He gets married to her right away. And she's like, I need to escape. And he's like, ah, ha, 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 ha. No, you don't. He is crazy and I love him so much. I really liked his version of their vows that happens later, like in their house. It was good stuff. It's very much hate to love. Like, she's trying to kill him and he's just like, you're so cute. It's so good. I love it. There is some violence in this series. If you don't want to watch somebody get tortured, then don't read the scenes in the warehouse when they are torturing their enemies, because they're pretty graphic, but otherwise you'll be fairly safe. I also have His Virgin Queen by Mink. This is a novella. It's also a mafia romance. So he, again, kind of goes to his rival's wedding and kills the groom and steals the bride. And I loved it because she's been very sheltered and protected, and she's very naive, but like, her father was abusive. He was not a good man. And the hero, not only does he steal her from the wedding, but he also gives her power and like turns her into a queen. And I loved watching that, even in the short novella. And there's another novella about her brother, which I really enjoyed also, but he steals her from the wedding. It's so good. He's so good to her. Love it. Then I have Violent Meet Cute. Okay? I love when, like, the first time they meet, they're trying to kill each other, or like he has her like pressed up against the wall, like, or like there's somebody has a knife to the throat, or what, or a dagger in the ribs, doesn't matter. I love when that is like their initial contact with each other, the thing where they like, they're close enough to kiss but they have the knife to the throat, but like they've never seen each other before. It's good stuff, okay? Like, it's greatness. So the first one I have is Toxic Desire, which is Planet of Desire number 1 by Robin Levitt. They are literally trying to kill each other, and because of that, they crash land on this planet, and the planet has a thing. in the air where it literally like overwhelms you with desire and with horniness, and like you got to bang it out or you're in physical pain. So they're like actively trying to kill each other and then at the same time actively trying to jump each other, and it's like not working out for them. He's an alien, she's a human. Humans destroyed his entire planet of people, so he hates her, and it's a lot of tension and very good. And he is like gold and like snake patterns and like extra stuff going on down there. Like there's a lot for entertainment purposes. Then I have Sacrifice, which is Bloodline Vampires #1 by Katie Robert. So she is the sacrifice. She gets sent to this vampire as blood and a womb. So her father, again, very abusive, and he sends her sacrifice. The plan is for her, either she'll die, no biggie, or she'll get pregnant, and then he will take her child, kill her, and use her child to control the father, this other powerful vampire. So she gets sent to this powerful vampire, and he hasn't had food in like a bunch of years. So he sees her and he's like, sorry, and then he like tackles her to the ground and sucks the blood out of her. That's very violent, but he still has like a thing about consent, and she doesn't know anybody else who would care. And so that's interesting. This is a reverse harem. It is swords crossing. So there are 3 male vampires, and they all have history and interactions with each other. And then she is a female dampire, which is a half vampire, but she doesn't have magic. That's why she got sent as the sacrifice. And all 4 of them have a romance together. So rather than it being reverse harem, it's really polyamorous because all 4 have relationships all the ways. Okay, we go all the ways. And it's so good. It's Katie Robert. It's really good smut. I cannot wait for the 3rd book to come out. Like, I am just desperate for it. I cannot wait. It's really, really, really good. And like, I think maybe her meetings with all 3 of the vampires are kind of violent. And it's really good. Another thing that I love is established couple. I love this. I love when there's already that affection, but something has broken them apart and they have to work on it. And I love it. I just do. I love it so much. I want more recommendations for this. So my first one is Maybe Next Time, which is Vegas Nights #1 by Christina C. Jones. This does have a content warning for miscarriage. That was the issue with their marriage, and so it is heavily addressed in the book. So if you're sensitive to that topic, you would need to skip it. But if that will not be a huge trigger for you, then I really recommend it, because it's beautiful watching them overcome that and finally fix the things that got torn apart. And basically she asks for a divorce and he's like, no. And he kidnaps her. And it's like, we are gonna work on our marriage. I'm not giving you up. And I felt like it was a really beautiful look at the grief and the trauma that they had been through, and how instead of it making them stronger, it had torn them apart. But they loved each other so much that getting back to it, making them stronger, was worth it to them. And I loved it. Smutty, over the top. He's very alpha. He threatens to kill somebody for looking at her. And he kidnaps her and all the things. It's really, really good. And I have Learned My Lesson by Katie Robert. This is a Hades, Hercules, and Meg triad romance. And Hades and Meg are an established couple, but they are having issues. And the thing that I didn't like about this book is that it takes most of the book for Meg to emotionally be okay and to feel like she belongs and to feel loved. And I was like, oh, you're making this so sad. Let's not do that. But Hercules kind of gets trapped into a deal with Hades because he falls for Meg, and he's like, I will trade myself for her. And Hades is like, okay, you sign the contract and she doesn't have to do anything she doesn't want to do. But she's already not doing anything she doesn't want to do. So he like signs his life away for nothing. And it's so interesting because you have this established couple who have issues, and somehow introducing a third person was like the bridge that they needed to all be okay, and is good stuff. Very smutty. It is a sex club. It's very exciting. I love it. Okay, this is my last one. I love when the hero is the biggest and the baddest man in like the entire world. Obviously, this tends to happen more so with paranormals, and that is kind of what my recommendations are. But I just like when the hero is the person with the most power. Maybe he's the king, maybe he's the beast lord, maybe he is the most powerful, whatever, even like a businessman, doesn't matter. But I want him to have like more power than anybody knows what to do with. I love that. I just love when it's like top of the food chain. That's my man. I like that. It's fun. I like it. I like it a lot. So my first one is Burn, Which Is Dark in You, #1 by Suzanne Wright. Nox is the most powerful demon on Earth. Nobody actually knows what type of demon he is. And the demons have psychic anchors, which is somebody that helps them keep their demon in check. So you kind of have the human side and the demon side. It's almost a duality. And Harper is a demon. She's kind of not like other girls, but she just doesn't care about power, which is not something that is true of demons. Like, they are power hungry. They like all the vices, and she just is like, yeah, no, I'm good over here. And she is his psychic anchor, and he's trying to lure her in, and she's like, I don't know about that fella. And he's like, you fascinate me. Like, you're not going anywhere. It's really good. He's the most powerful. Arguably, he can't stop her from getting kidnapped every single book, but besides that, the most powerful demon in the world. Then I have Dragonbound by Thea Harrison. He is the dragon shifter. There are no other dragon shifters. He is many thousands of years old. He is ridiculously powerful. He is the head of all the shifters, the Weir specifically. And she is the thief who stole from his hoard, left a note, and perked his curiosity and got his attention in a way that she never should have. She is a half shifter, and nobody knows what type of shifter she is, and it's actually a really cool reveal. And he's just like, all right, you pretty little thief. You're not, no, like, I'm gonna go to the ends of the earth to find you. He is the most powerful. It is a fun time. I really enjoyed the series a lot. It kind of gives me very much Akamath vibes, because they have this whole inner circle of sentinels, and then they all get their own romances. And so you really get to see their connection, but also the friendships with the sentinels. And he has like mind powers and can have like psychic dream sexy times. It's very, very entertaining stuff. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, he's like super duper powerful. There's lots of different paranormals in the world, and you kind of explore them more in their own books, but this one, about the dragon, it was good. Okay, those are some of my favorite book tropes and just things I love having in them. I would kind of like to do this again with more. Let me know if you would like that, because there are those specific little things that you're just like, oh, I love when this happens in a book, but like, it's impossible to search for them, you know? Like, it's just so hard to find the books with those in them. You have to do it by accident, or somebody specifically saying, hey, this is in here. And those are the things that I love the most. So yeah, I would love to do this again. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.